management screen. Okay. Hello, my name is Megan Hunt and I'm part of DS4 at the Data School, and I'm going to talk to you today about designing for mobile using Tableau. Probably on the way to work every morning see hundreds of people staring at their phones. I saw a statistic that people access news on their phones over 50% of the time now compared to web traffic. So being able to design dashboards that are accessible from other devices is really important and probably will be growing more important in the future. People don't just use phones, they also use iPads, so we're going to be covering the device designer in Tableau, where you can change your dashboards so that you can consume them on tablets and on phones. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to run through some design principles about designing for mobile first. Then I'm going to tell you about Tableau Device Manager and how you can use it and what the limitations are, what features there are, and then I'm just going to do a demo on Tableau, dragging things about the screen to show you, and then you can go away and have a play yourself. So, fundamental principles when you're designing for mobile is simplicity. You have to keep it really simple because screens are so small, there is not a lot of real estate on there. So you only want the most valuable, useful things on there. It has to be clean, it's got to be straightforward, you only want to keep things on there that are practical and useful to the viewer. Just be minimalist. Don't put fancy fonts on it because they're not going to render properly on small screens. Don't put loads of colours on it because you just want the information to be as clear as possible. Think intuitively about it. You want to encourage people to explore further, but you don't want to crowd the screen at all. You'll see what I mean when we get to the demo in a minute. You need to think about your audience and about what the devices are they're going to be using. You have to be aware that everyone has a different kind of phone. Not everyone has an iPhone. Not everyone has an iPad. Not everybody will be accessing your dashboards for the same reason. Ooh, my audio is degraded apparently. Anyway, so you want to think about why they're using a mobile device to look at your dashboard. Are they on the way to a meeting? Are they on the train on the way to work? Do they want to have a quick look? Are they going to a client meeting and they've got their iPad and they want to show people? You also have to think, is it preferable to be making a dashboard for viewing on a mobile, or if it's someone that's just looking at something quickly on the train on the way to work, would it be better to point them at something like Visible where they can explore very quickly on things? Another principle is don't mess with people's expectations. Don't mess with the conventions of design on a mobile phone. So you know when you look at, say, Amazon or a website that you would use on a desktop and on a mobile phone, there are certain conventions about the way that things are presented. If you keep your headers, if you need to have a title at the top, don't put a really long title on there because it's going to take up a massive amount of space on your mobile phone screen. You want drop-down menus to choose from. You don't want a big long list that you're going to be spending ages scrolling through. Just, again, think of the convenience and the intuitive nature of it. And the final fundamental principle, which ties it all together, is ease of use. So, what do I mean by ease of use? Probably not something Donald Trump's going to have a problem with his tiny, tiny hands. But for the rest of us, we suffer from sausage fingers. Fat finger syndrome. We don't want to be using sausage fingers. We want happy fingers. And you keep fingers happy by not putting loads of tiny buttons and tiny filters, tiny parameters on your mobile dashboard, because you're going to use your big fat fingers and you're not going to be able to choose things that you want to do. So you have to think about the way people navigate on a tablet or a phone. They're not clicking. There's no hover function with your finger. It's just stabbing. So yeah, don't put tiny, complicated tooltips on there. You've got to think scrolling up and down, or depending if you're going to orientate landscape or portrait, think of scrolling and just the one touch rather than all of the fancy stuff that we can do on a desktop dashboard. Okay. So Tableau Device Designer has been put into Tableau 10, which means that you can make your normal dashboard, and then you can also add different views and really orientate all the bits on the dashboard so that they can fit and render properly on a mobile phone or on a tablet or on a desktop or laptop. So when you're using it, again, be aware of your audience. Not all your dashboard is going to be on a desktop, so it's probably a good idea to at least put in a second view so that people have the flexibility of using it on their computer or using it on a mobile phone. Something Dan was talking about this morning, which was defining your audience. You're going to make it complicated for the analysts, or are you going to make it really simple for people to look at? Think about what people are wanting to get out of the data, where they're going to be using it, where they're going to be looking at it. At the moment, the device designer only works with online and server, so don't try putting it on Tableau Public, because you're not going to be able to render.
Can you not just set the size?
But dynamic, you mean?
No, you can set the size of the dashboard to be whatever you want. The difference with the designer thing in Tableau 10 is that it automatically knows what device you're logging in from, and then it'll change it.
Oh, right.
But you could still make one just for mobile, but it would look crap if you opened it on a laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah. On Tableau Public.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So you can.
I know what you mean. Right, so you have 4 layout options in the device designer. There's the default, the desktop, the tablet, and the phone. You can preview and customize for each device, so you can choose the screen orientation you want. So for phones, generally, people do portrait, and for tablets, generally, people do landscape. This is a little overview of all of the different devices that you have the options to look at.
Ours looks like that.
Oh dear.
Oh wait,
Feel like it's coming. Oh, okay.
Too many images.
Too many pictures. That's pretty much all of the devices that are named as the models in the device design you can choose from. But I've just put that there so you can see the range of sizes that you could be potentially designing for. Okay. So now we're going to go into Tableau. Okay, so here is our dashboard screen. Woo! Woo! Dashboard screen. Have you ever wanted to design a dashboard for a mobile device? Now you can!
Exclamation mark.
Okay, so I have taken a pre-made viz of Global Superstore, everyone's favourite data set. And we are going to let's have a look at what all the buttons do first, shall we? So this is your normal view with your blank dashboard and everything. Everyone's familiar with that. Click on Device Preview. You get this lovely extra bar up the top. So you can choose here, you've got the device types. So there you go, desktop, default, tablet, and phone. And along here, depending on what you've chosen, we'll choose phone. That's that. You've got the list of all of the suggested model guidelines. and their dimensions. So let's have an iPhone 6, why not? Okay, this little toggle there is awesome because at the moment we're in portrait, just click it, and you can go into landscape, so you can decide how you want your dashboard to be consumed. Then you've got your Tableau mobile app checkbox here. So I'm going to unclick it and click it a few times so you can see what it does to the preview square. It's got bigger. Now, see? Right, if you're going to use Tableau mobile app, the reason it's smaller is because it puts headers and all that jazz on the top. So that's why your pane is smaller. But you also need to be aware that if people are using their phones or tablets to look at your dashboard, that if they're looking at it in Chrome or a different app, then you might have headers and like the tabs, and it can change a little bit of the view that you're going to see. So you have to keep that in mind. So I'm not going to design for Tableau mobile right now because I want a bigger pane to work in. So we've chosen phone, we've chosen that we want it to be on an iPhone, not too bothered about the app. So you just do add phone layout and then it appears under default over here. Okay, so if you look, you can switch between the default and your phone there. Something that, no, I'll cut that in a second. Let's drag some stuff onto the default and see what happens to the phone preview. So I am going to take the map, and then I'm going to take the regional profit heat map, and then make that fit the entire view, so it's nice there. Okay. Right, so we've got everything on our default map, on our default dashboard, sorry. Let's go into phone. You can see it's now overlaid the screen size of the phone, but it's pretty useless because we'll be scrolling all the way over to the right and all the way over to the left one second. So you need to change the size. So default is the size of the default dashboard. And then you can do fit all, squashes everything down into that little screen shape that we've got. Or you can do fit width, which fits the width, but you can then hard code in a height to encourage people to scroll down the screen. And this won't be popular with Ravi, but apparently it's good practice to leave a peak at the bottom where the data, it's called a peak, where the data falls off the bottom of the screen a bit to encourage people to go, oh, there's a bit missing, I should scroll. So, but at the moment this is looking a bit shocking because we've got all of this jazz down the side. So what we can do is let's get rid of one of our filters there because we don't really need it, it's fairly obvious. Let's make that legend floating, and we'll just stick it down there for a minute. Think about your fat fingers again. This filter is not going to make fat fingers happy fingers. So you could try going for a single value drop down, and if I can get in there, let's get rid of all values as well. Then you can drag this over in the top. So now you've got a fairly large filter for your fingers to find, for want of a better word. Okay, we don't really need that heat map so big, so let's make that a bit smaller. So already you've got an idea of how you can make it look a bit nicer on a phone view. If we go back to the default, see, it's still kept all of the stuff, even though we've taken off average, profit, legend and things. But whatever you take off on the device designer view, it stays on the default regardless. Now, when you do a normal default dashboard, you get all the sheets listed here down the side. If you have a look on the phone, they're not there. So what you have to do is add the extra sheet that you want into your default view, and then it will appear on your list here for your custom view, and you can put it in from there and stick it down the bottom.
Can I set next so
The have you fallen off? Am I going too fast?
We're going, but we're almost with you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Did you?
We're almost
I didn't
there.
really get what the problem was and why you had to do something different.
Okay, I'll get back. Let's get rid of this. I'm going to read that one too.
Oh, audio connection has been lost.
Oh, good. Can you still?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. What are you doing? You just looked at me in a really quizzical fashion.
Was this
Oh, you're
mine?
listening.
Right, we're
Okay.
with you.
Okay. When you normally make a dashboard, see you have down the side on the left here all the sheets that are available to go in the dashboard, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So at the moment we've got these two sheets. We might want to drag in monthly profit trend. When you're on the device designer, you don't have those sheets showing down the left-hand side automatically. You have to drag them into your default dashboard, and then that will populate the custom layout. Does that make sense? They don't automatically pop in on the side.
What happens if you click that little default button?
Well, it's funny you should ask that.
Sorry.
That is the only way that you can essentially break it, but you can undo. So if you click default, it just goes back to the default dashboard view, but you lose everything you've done.
Yeah,
So, but thank God you can undo.
because that makes it seem like the default would bring every sheet in,
Yeah, but it
but
doesn't.
it just doesn't. It just breaks
No.
everything.
So undo is your friend yet again. So what was I doing? Putting in the final sheet, I wanted to put it down the bottom of the view so that when people scroll through, they'll find it. So I have to go back to default, grab it from the left-hand side, stick it on the bottom of the default view, and go back to my phone view. See, it's appeared at the bottom of the hierarchy here. And then drag that in. Is everyone? Yeah, cool. Okay, and then do your resizing and move your legends around and all that stuff. Okay, so basically, if you want it to appear in your phone view, you have to grab the sheets and put them in your default view so that they're then available to monkey with in the device designer bit. Okay. So what have we got? We've got our peak at the bottom a little bit there. Yeah, it's good practice to remove the stuff that's not very necessary. If it's clearly obvious that you don't really need a colour legend or something like that. And we've moved the filter up there so that it's good for your fat fingers. I read that it's also quite useful to actually use sheets as the filters instead of actually having a filter function on the top. So then, for example, if we're going to press on the country, we'll get the whole phone view changing to country. Another good thing to do is, at the moment, see South America is tiny, so let's go in and make that a bit bigger, so it's a bit more obvious on the phone. Let's do that. Yep, that's, I do need to do that in a second. Maybe I should have done that first. There, you do need to unpin it to stop it from moving around. Then you make it bigger, and then all these fun things that we can use on the desktop, again, are fairly pointless for fingers. So you go into your map options. You don't want to allow people to pan and zoom because they're using their fingers, and if they're using their fingers to pan and zoom, they're just going to be chasing the map around the screen constantly while they're trying to scroll through it. So disable pan and zoom. You may as well disable the rest of it to get rid of the bar, because you don't really need that functionality when you're just using your fingers and you can't click.
You just right click on the map to get those options.
Can you do that as well?
Show view.
Show view toolbar. Ah, good tip. Thank you very much.
Oh no, I didn't know. I was asking.
Oh,
How did you change those?
I mean,
Where did you go to do the options? Oh, is that the little triangle?
Map options, and it pops up there. So yes. Okay, I'll pretend that I knew. Okay, so now our map's not going to move around the screen when we're stabbing it with our fingers, and we don't have the unnecessary map, what did we call it? Toolbar. That's it. That's gone. So it's nice and clean again. Let's make the map into a filter, shall we? Wait, let's go to, which one is the map? Total breakdown by country. No, that's not what I want to do. How did I do this yesterday?
Do you go on the default view and then make it a filter?
Oh, yes. It's just testing. I'm glad you said that. Yeah, use filter. There we go. Cool. Right. We go back in, and then let's pretend we've prodded Brazil. And it's filtered for us. So I suggest that you play with it and test it with your own dashboards on your own devices if you have those devices available to you. Oh, I forgot a very important thing, in fact. That was tooltips. Tooltips. You don't want them particularly if you're stabbing with your fingers onto a screen. You certainly don't want complicated ones because there's no hover with fingers. There's a good one down here where they've put the numbers really, really big. So if you do select it with your finger, you'll get a nice big clear number. But there's no point having huge amounts of tooltip info in there, because you're looking at it on the fly, which I hate that expression, but you're looking at it in a mobile setting, so you're not going to be sat there. You're not going to be sat there wanting to drill down on-prem. You're off-prem looking at this. Yes, so just remember the clicking situation is very limited because you're just touching with your finger. So yeah, there's no tooltips on the map because they're unnecessary.
I think when you publish to a server, there's an option to disable all tooltips, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
So you don't need to go off and take it off each sheet.
That is good knowledge. Excellent.
I want to try it on.
I want to try it on a phone. Unfortunately, I have an iPhone 4 and it's rubbish. So I haven't managed to try it.
Can I try it on my phone?
Publish it to server.
Please do.
Publish it to Till server now
Okay.
and test it. Live demos.
Ooh. Oh no, that's probably public. I don't want to do that. Go away. Sign in. Is it DS or yeah?
Don't say the password like
I'm not saying
The password
Literally sensitive.
To be honest, it's a valid point because I probably would have just said it forgetting that was on record.
Someone whisper it to me.
Someone write it down.
I think I put it in, but then I may not have done. Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah, I did that.
That's
I know, I did.
that.
The first letter is small.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would be why.
That.
That's why. So I was doing a big
I mean-
letter.
All the letters are small.
Yay, here we go.
You could have just muted the money a bit.
I could have
That
done,
is
That's a
but
good
so
point.
valid.
and,
This would be a lot funnier though.
Someone's going to be listening on right
it's
now.
behind the scenes extra bonus director's cut.
breaking the
Right. So should I put it on data school?
Yeah.
Why not?
Go for it.
Okay. Publish
3,
right.
2.
What's the website? The information lab.tableauserve.com.
It's
Tableau
going to
server.org.
be called Tableau Device
Alright.
Designer.
What's that? What is that?
Tableau.
Tableau.
Tableau Device Designer. If you're listening at home, there was a very exciting, or at work, a very exciting devs on stage thing earlier at the conference about
Oh, very exciting.
the new tooltip function they're going to put on. Oh
Sorry.
my god!
Oh my god, what is that? That's
They're going
horrible.
to they're going to put on the device
Oh,
designer.
That's not nice.
Okay.
Kind of horrifying.
How are we doing?
Yeah, that.
Okay.
Tableauserver.theinformationlab.co.uk.
Yeah.
I'm just on Tableau.information.
Tableau server.
Okay. Shall I? I'll finish up
Yeah,
What-
carry on, yeah.
what I was
Yeah, you
blathering
do,
on
yeah.
about,
Yeah, you
and
continue.
then we can see how it looks. If it works. Right. In conclusion, and your takeaways. There we go. There's the takeaway.
Bagels with Chinese and chicken. That's a weird
Yeah.
takeaway.
Is it coming up?
So,
Right.
yeah, okay.
Okay. Keep it simple. It's a tiny, tiny screen. There's not a lot of space. You need to think about who's using it. Get rid of all of the nonsense. Simple fonts, simple colours. Think about who you're aiming at. Think about how sausage fingery, fat fingers they've got. Get rid of the tooltips until the new Tableau 10.2 and the fun tooltips comes in.
It works.
Mine
Mine was a bit bullish.
Does it work?
Well, mine's not coming up.
Mine is squished this way.
Okay.
It's not the whole of my screen.
Which,
Are you
have you got
using
the right model?
demo device designer dashboard?
Maybe it's
Okay.
maybe it's because I've not got an iPhone 6.
What is your iPhone?
My iPhone is an LG.
Right. Shall I do generic phone and let's see?
Oh wait, no,
No?
change it because I've got an iPhone 6 and I want to try it.
Okay.
Oh, where is it?
It's
So I'm on.
Tableau device designer.
Yeah, try and modify.
And then demo device designer. Here. Fingers crossed.
Oh, that's. And maybe it's to look at it on the. Oh, if I download the mobile app, maybe that's. Oh no, because you can do it for the mobile app.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the licensing was
Okay.
Mine was just
Weird.
That's the top of that's how it
Maybe
works,
it's
though,
because maybe it's because this isn't in a mobile, like on the mobile setting. Maybe I'm just looking at it as if it was on a computer.
Oh, on a website.
Yeah. So I don't know how you change that.
Also, you didn't disable the tooltips.
I didn't disable this. I
And,
didn't because that's.
But it works. It's just because it's the design. The view is the one you created for the mobile.
Yeah.
Which is good. So it works.
Why is it shrunk up
But
at
it's
the
just a
bottom
visual.
of it?
I think I need to figure out how to get this onto like a mobile setting because you know you can if you go on like some websites it says do you want to see this in the mobile
Yeah, so
view?
you using it through Safari or something.
Yeah,
Okay.
but usually it would come up.
Well, that's certainly something that we can look into while we're experimenting with, as we're doing right now. We can do further experiments on that.
Okay.
Download the Tableau mobile app. Tableau. How about I will, I'll optimize it for the Tableau mobile app and republish it.
Oh, it's working for me.
Oh,
Admin
yay!
6, yeah. Beth, are you, what phone do you have?
Admin 6.
If you go to
Wait.
your settings and then request desktop site.
Oh, how do I do that? Okay. As in settings on Safari,
Yeah, you know
or
you got that box with the arrow pointing upwards
I'll go back
in the
on the
middle,
bottom
at the
there.
bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, click on that and then hit on request desktop site.
where's desktop site? Woohoo!
Yay!
Where?
You had me worried for a moment.
Oh, I'm struggling to scroll.
Ah,
Mine still looks like this. That's with desktop
okay.
site.
I have
Maybe
done it
it's
for an
because
iPhone 6 rather than the
see.
generic mobiles.
If you want to scroll, you can't. It just highlights things.
Oh, okay. Why
Which
is
is
that
exciting
then?
in its own right, to be fair.
It is exciting. Why is that? Let's have a look back on that lens. Well, these are all fun things that you can discover while you're playing with it. And merely highlights how important it is to test your designs before sending them out into the wild, as I was unable to do because I don't have a good enough phone. So that kind of basically completes it. Think about fat fingers, make it simple, experiment when you're designing in the dashboard device manager thing, and test it out before you let other people see it. And that was me. And has anyone got any questions?
Do you find anything about how to make fonts change size, be responsive?
No.
Anyone know anything like that? So you get the fonts, like, so when you show things on bigger and smaller screens, you get the fonts to change size.
As in like,
Because I tried doing a
Right.
presentation once and it was a disaster because the fonts
In the
look fine on the screen.
Right,
they're
right.
pretty big and it's really bad.
Right. Yeah. No, that has to be.
It's a whole new
Maybe
design,
that,
really.
yeah. Maybe that's something that rich text editor will do. Maybe the automatic sizing, like scalable font. But yeah, that's a good point.
Also the filter.
Other question I have for you, Megan.
Yes.
I can remember it. Oh yeah, it was a question, it was a comment.
Okay.
You can, there's those like Chrome apps for you to, like add-ons that you can like go onto websites and change it to mobile screens. So you get your screen adjusts as if you're on like iPhone 6 or Android phone, and like pretend that you're basically sending a message to your website.
So you can test it out.
Exactly, that's a way to test
that's
it.
very useful.
I can't remember the name off by heart, but Chrome. Can you actually do it straight from Chrome? Oh,
Can you?
sweet.
Yeah, there's, if you go in the developer view thing, you can do it in there.
Oh, nice.
I'm pretty sure Firefox
Definitely.
does this as well.
Well, that's extremely handy. I wish I'd known about that yesterday when I was making my presentation.
Developer tools.
This allows you to pin,
Device toggle
you need to
toolbar.
pin it to whatever is showing in the filter. This is just a dashboard. This is just a dashboard. Your map just pinned a bit wrong.
Okay. Oh, is my filter
Because
now?
if you change it to Europe, it'll still show you Brazil.
Is that why? Oh, that's why you shouldn't pin it. It's pinned and it shouldn't be pinned. I did actually. Oh, I did that last night and then wrote, make sure you unpin it, and then ignored my own instructions completely.
Yeah,
It
good
should.
instructions.
It should.
Oh,
wait, I'll probably need to republish it. Filter. Ooh, that filter looks much nicer than I thought it would.
Yeah, mine looks like
excuse me. See, that's what they are, right.
Gosh, they do render much bigger than I was expecting. That's good.
See if I go on Europe, it's because have you unpinned the map yet?
I need to republish it. Yeah.
That might work then.
Okay, cool. Hang on. Publish. Let the recording publishing load right. Yes, good. Yeah.
and sort by,
You can't sort by what?
You can't sort by which was recently uploaded.
Oh, on
No,
the...
no, we can go with business tab.
Hang on, are we still doing the
No,
webinar?
We are. Shall I switch the webinar? If anyone, has anybody
Oh, you
that's
can't.
not in the room got anything to ask, say, comment, or anything?
There's nobody on there.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. And tune in at 3 for predictive analytics in Ultrix with Rachel. Bye bye.